and welcome to another episode of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition's Small Business Forum. I'm your host, David Dadekian, owner of Eat Drink Rhode Island, a small business here in our state. And I'm very excited today to be talking with our Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos. We've got a lot of things to cover. There's a lot going on. So please welcome our Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos.
Good morning, David. So great to be here. It's been a long time. Glad to be back.
Well, thank you for coming back. I wanted to talk to you. When we started this, asked you to do this a few weeks ago. I wanted to talk to you about the grocery bills and how that's affecting small businesses, small grocers, things of that nature. And we'll definitely get to that. But I think in light of what's been going on in current events, I want to just touch on, SNAP. And that situation, because I think that also not only obviously affects people who are food insecure, but also affects small businesses and affects our small grocers. So I wanted to talk about that a bit for you. But first, can you give us just a little update? I think have all Rhode Island SNAP beneficiary owners, card owners, EBT card owners received their benefits? That did happen, yes?
They did. In let's probably we should let people know that we are having this conversation on Monday morning because things are changing every hour, right?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I listen to a few news podcasts and they all say that right at the start of the podcast. We're recording on Wednesday, releasing this on Thursday. Who knows what'll happen? So
right now,
thank you.
Everyone in Rhode Island and Massachusetts got their funding for the SNAP benefits. But at this moment, the Trump administration is requesting that the state that already issued the SNAP benefits to call them back. So, which is, I don't understand that.
It's deplorable. I mean, for those of you who follow Eat Drink RI on my social media channels, I've been trying to cover this and keep track of what's going on there. But the latest is that some of the funds were released, but the Trump administration asked for a stay, and not only did they ask for a stay, they asked for the money back that they accidentally released. I don't know. It's just cruel and unusual, in my opinion, for those that are on SNAP. But to your point, I think now that it has been out there, I talked to Farm Fresh Rhode Island this morning before we got on, so I can get some numbers, and they said that people did use their EBT cards on Saturday at the farmers market, but many people were confused. Many people were surprised to find their full benefits on there. So again, this is Monday, the 10th of November. We'll be putting this up on Wednesday, the 12th. You should have your full benefits, and hopefully there's no way that they will be pulled back.
That's right. And I can tell you, last week I visited a grocery store in East Providence. I was speaking with one of the owners, and he was telling me stories about senior citizens coming to purchase. This is before the funding was available on the first. And this person had his whole grocery already. When he went to pay, he realized the money was not there. He didn't know what was happening. So this was last week on the 1st, right? After that, the funding was released. Rhode Island made sure that the fundings were available for everyone. But now the Trump administration wants us to go back and take the money away from our seniors, our families that are in need. I don't understand.
It's astonishing the thinking. But also, to your point about the small business, I thought this was interesting when I talked to Farm Fresh this morning. So, as you know, as many people out there hopefully know, SNAP benefits, the EBT cards can be used at our farmers markets here in Rhode Island.
That's right.
But the Farm Fresh farmers markets specifically have a program called Bonus Bucks, where they will double your benefit. So if you spend $1, they'll give you another $1 on top of that. For these first few weeks of November, they're actually doubling that. So if you spend $1, they're giving you $2 on top of that, which is fantastic. So if you're out there and you support Farm Fresh, please keep supporting Farm Fresh.
Yes.
But here's the point to small businesses that I thought was interesting. So Taya there mentioned that normally the first weekend of a farmer's market at Farm Fresh, they'd see about $4,500 in SNAP benefits being spent, which they would again match. And last Saturday, the 1st, only $900 were spent. So from a small business perspective, that's Obviously, $3,600 that did not go to small businesses. Thankfully, this previous Saturday, the 8th, they saw $3,500 spent. So
Mhm.
it's coming back. Some people are aware. And again, thank you to Farm Fresh. Because they saw $3,500 spent, they gave $7,000 to recipients to spend in addition. So that's very nice to see.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that. I don't think people
Mhm.
realize when a program like this comes up, all the small businesses that are affected by this.
That's right. And something else that people don't realize is this program that Farm Fresh has that you can have access to, that they're able to double the SNAP recipients' benefits. The regular grocery stores cannot do that.
Right.
Actually, the administration sent a reminder to all the grocery stores to let them know that they cannot give a discount to the SNAP recipients because it will be in violation of the rules. Those are rules that they're able to live during this time. It's just what's happening. It doesn't. I have never seen something like this before.
No.
And at the end of the day, it's people that are in need, it's seniors, our families with children that are gonna go without food if this is not solved.
Yeah.
Going back to the business, at the business that I visited in East Providence, talking to the owner, he was telling me how as soon as the shutdown happened, his sales were half,
Yeah.
just with the shutdown. And then on top of that, with the SNAP benefits not being available, their sales went down again. Right now, small businesses, small grocery stores are suffering,
Yeah.
And this is going to be what is going to make the difference in whether they keep their doors open, yes or no.
It may be, you're right. Yeah.
The big grocery store, the Walmarts, the Stop and Shop, they're able to go through these periods, but the small grocery store in your neighborhood may not be able to survive
Right.
this challenge right now.
Yeah, I think of all the independently owned stores out there. Even a group like Dave's is suffering from
Yes.
and again, they're a larger group, but they still they give a lot of support to SNAP recipients. They take out
Yes.
the EBT cards as everyone does, the grocery stores, but they're a lot different than your like you said, your Walmarts and your Stop and Shops.
And grocery stores operate on a very thin margin.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, and you know all about that.
The food industry as a whole. I mean,
Yes.
Let's not go too far down that path.
I know.
That's my whole world, and we could talk about that for hours and hours. But I just wanted to concentrate on on the work that you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
I know you last General Assembly session, which is for those of you out there who don't know, we have a 6-month session, January to June. You submitted several bills. You worked on several bills to help support our grocery industry here, our locally owned grocery industry here.
That's right.
And you're going to submit them again. I assume that you're going to work with the sponsors to submit them again come January.
Yes, we're working on reintroducing the legislation. So it's my fair price grocery agenda package of bills. And 4 bills were introduced on my behalf last year, and I'm going to be reintroducing those, asking the General Assembly to reintroduce them again this year. The first one is restricted covenant. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that big supermarkets are not able to create monopoly, because what they've been doing right now is when a big supermarket closes a store in a neighborhood, they're able to put a restricted covenant on that building, meaning that another grocery store cannot go in that building for up to 30 years. So many of us have seen this. You drive around and you see, there used to be a supermarket here. Why is this building still empty? Why are things, the building is looks run down? What's going on? Most likely that building has a restricted covenant in place that doesn't allow for another grocery store to go in there. And that creates food deserts in our community. So that's one of the bills that I was introduced last year. It did pass on the Senate, but it didn't pass on the House. So I'm going to need your help to make sure that that passed on the House. And how I learned about this actually is working with investors that want to invest here in Rhode Island, wants to open supermarket, especially in communities that have a big challenge and are food deserts, then the big supermarkets don't want to go there, right? So
right. It's not economical for them, unfortunately. Yeah,
it is not. And they were trying to open a supermarket in Woonsocket, and we learned that in Woonsocket, most of the buildings in which a supermarket could go into already have a restricted covenant. So this is insane. Woonsocket is considered a food desert, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be able to change this law to what we're looking for is we're not even asking to go retroactive. We just want to go from now on. We're not going to allow this practice of adding unrestricted covenants, especially very specific to grocery stores, like fresh food. We want to make sure that people in our communities have access to fresh food. So that was one of the bill.
And I think, if I may, I think, just every time I hear this, I think about this, for all those out there that are fiscally conservative, this is anti-capitalism. I mean, honestly, think about it. I live in Coventry. There's an old Almax lot that has been vacant. I don't know. I mean, for as long as I can remember, maybe 30 years. And I think a lot of people realize that the former East Side Market in Providence is owned by Ahold Corporation still, and that's why there's not a new grocery store in there.
Oh my God.
I mean, so I think these examples are important for people to realize, and thank you for that. And then yes, what's the next one?
The next one is actually coupons. When a store is advertising a discount, right? And you go to the store expecting that you're gonna get this discount. Right now, if you don't have a digital smartphone and then have their app and then download the items into your app, you don't get access to it. And this is affecting especially our senior community because they go to the store, they're expecting they're gonna get the discount that was promised, right? And when they go there, they're asking them that they need to have a smartphone and they need to have the app. In many instances, our seniors do not have a smartphone, or if they have it, they don't know how to use it, right?
Yeah. And it's not just seniors. Let's be fair. I mean, my wife doesn't really like to grocery shop, and she doesn't think about it sometimes. She just goes in to get an item, that I ask her to get, and she comes and she doesn't get the sale price because she didn't think to take her phone out and get it.
So what we're looking for is to ensure that the stores are providing a way for you to get access to the discounts once you go in there. That doesn't require for you to have a smartphone in order to do it, or to be able to get the app and all that. Right now, actually, I have to say Stop and Shop is doing the right thing. Right now, you can go there and you can get access to the discount. We want to see more of that happening, that everyone is providing the discount to our seniors, to all of us, right? Yeah. Because sometimes you go to the store because you see the advertisement of the items, and there isn't anything more frustrating than going there, and when you're going to pay, they're not honoring that promotion. Yeah. So that's the other bill. In this bill, Rep. Rhode has introduced in the past a different version of it. So he was the one leading this and who introduced this legislation on my behalf during the last session. Another one that of the pieces of legislations that we introduced, it has to do with the Robinson-Patman ad.
Yeah, this one's interesting.
So you're familiar with this.
I'm sorry. Yes, please explain it, because it is an interesting situation.
Yes. So this is a federal law, right? It's already the law, but it's not being implemented. So we're trying to make sure that it's implemented here in the state of Rhode Island. And basically what we're trying to accomplish, trying to explain it in the simplest of terms, is if we have, let's say, a producer, a farmer that produces, let's say, potatoes, right? A big corporation cannot go there and tell them, I'm going to buy this truck full of potatoes, right? You got to give it to me at a discount, but you cannot give it to anybody else.
Right.
So we're saying that is already a federal law, should be illegal. We want to make sure that this practice is not happening, because if someone else, and if in an independent supermarket of an association of independent supermarkets comes in and they're buying the same amount of the product, they should get the same price.
Exactly.
So that's the other legislation that and Grace Diaz introduced, Representative Grace Diaz introduced that legislation for us. And finally, is the other legislation has to do with the electronic shelving. Now, more and more, we see that this is the practice of installing electronic shelving, and we have concern with this. This can be used to jack up the prices of items that could be in demand, right? So they're able to switch the price every 10 seconds on this electronic shelving. So we want to ensure that there is regulation on this electronic shelving to ensure that it's not being abused and consumers not being taken advantage of with electronic shelving. So that was the package of legislation.
I just want to describe that a little bit better for folks, because it's a term I know, electronic shelving, but I think some people may not realize. And I'm sure a lot of folks out there have seen it. The shelf tag that tells you the price of the item is no longer in many larger corporate supermarkets a sticker or something that just with the thing written out. It's an actual little LCD screen or LED screen that has the price on it and other data information. And because it's a computer screen, essentially a little micro screen, the main office can just say, okay, these potatoes are 99 cents a pound today, but we're running low on potatoes, so we're going to make them $1.49 a pound.
That's right.
And it can just happen like that. And since there's no actual price tag on a potato, obviously, it just goes through the system and can be changed on a whim. So that's another great bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So these are the bills. So we got hearings last year. Got some feedback. We're working now before the session start, trying to address some of the feedback that we got, and we're going to be introducing these bills again for the next session starting in January.
Excellent. So if you're out there and you want to support these bills, contact your rep or your senator. You can find that information on sos.ri.gov if you're not aware of that. I think it's also vote.ri.gov gets you that information right away. Right. And if you want to testify, if you want to send testimony in written, it's really not that hard. It's a little daunting, but it's not that hard. And so,
it can be done.
Right, it can be done. If you have questions, contact us at the Small Business Coalition. We do it all the time. We'd be happy to help.
Yes. And also, feel free to call my office. The number is 401-222-2371. And reach out if you want to learn more about these bills. If you want to testify, please reach out to us. If there is a building in your community that you suspect that maybe has a restricted covenant, David Focorelli in my office, he would love to hear from you.
He actually would. He really would. He's really upset about this too. I mean, I have some eye, but it's interesting to see how fired up David is about this. So,
he is. So please just reach out to the office.
Thank you. And of course, when we put this online, all the show notes and everything will have links and contact information, and I'll link up to this information as well down in the notes. So take a look there. So while I've got you, there were a couple other things I wanted to talk about that I know you're passionate about, and I think are extremely important to our small business community. One of which is succession planning. A lot of small business owners, a lot of the small business owners I know personally, and farmers that I know personally have a difficult time with succession planning because either their children don't want to take over the business or they don't have children. So talk to us a bit about what you're doing there.
So I'm very excited about this work of succession planning. And I have to tell you, the first time I learned about employee ownership in the term silver tsunami was actually in one of the conferences of the lieutenant governors, the National Lieutenant Governors Association. So they had a presentation for us about employee ownership and how the silver tsunami is going to be affecting the business community. So the silver tsunami refers to the baby boomers, especially. They're going to be retiring within the 5 to 15 years, right?
Yep.
So many of them are planning on retiring. COVID made a lot of people rethink, their life and how they want to spend the final years. So more people are thinking about retiring and earlier in many cases. So what happens is many of our small business community don't have a succession plan in place, right? It's something that small businesses are just worried about running the business.
I was going to say, it's just one more thing that
One more thing.
running. So yeah, many don't. You're right.
One more thing. So we want to help you with that one more thing. We want to make sure that here in Rhode Island, we have a center for employee ownership. And this center is going to be helping, especially those businesses that do not have a succession plan in place. If you don't have, let's say, your children that are going to take over your business, or a relative, a family member, if you don't have someone that's going to take over the business, we want to encourage you to sell the business to your employees, right? And there are many ways how this can be done, right?
Oh, yeah.
It can be done as a co-op. It could be an ESOP, which is an employee stock option program that is very popular, especially for the larger businesses.
Right.
They prefer the ESOP over the co-op. And we have some really good example of successful employee owner businesses in the state of Rhode Island. And one of the, actually, that was highlighted to us as the National Lieutenant Governors Association was the Newport Restaurant Group, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, a group I know well, and their employees really do love it. It's a great system.
So I look at me when I'm there in the conference and I hear the Newport Restaurant group, like I felt very proud
Good.
to hear them being highlighted amongst my colleagues about what a good example of employee ownership is. Here in Rhode Island, there are other companies like Stanley Street Services is also employee owned. And we have coffee shops that have turned into co-ops for employee ownership. So there are different models. There's also profit sharing. There's another way in which just the profit that comes from the business gets split between the workers. And there are many ways how this can happen. And one important thing to remember is, because some business owners feel a little bit hesitant, when we talk about employee ownership, it doesn't necessarily translate to management. There are different management structures, right?
Yep.
All we want is to make sure that the employees are going to partake in the benefits of the company. Many business owners that want to leave a legacy, that want to make sure that the business continue after they retire, prefer this model because that ensures that the legacy continue. They work so hard to build these companies, right? They don't want to see it just disappear. And another data is that many business owners think that, okay, when I'm going to retire, I just put my business up for sale and I just going to sell it at that time. The data shows that over 70% of those businesses do not find a buyer.
Right.
So they end up either closing their doors or selling it to an equity firm from outside that doesn't understand the value that that business brings to that community.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage every business owner that doesn't have a succession plan in place to start thinking about it, to start looking at the possibility, and to encourage them to sell the business to the employee. And we want to create a center that's going to provide all the financial structure information, make sure that we have CPAs that understand this type of transaction, make sure that we have lawyers that understand this type of transaction.
Oh, yeah.
Identifying financial institutions that are willing to lend to employee-owned businesses. And we want to make sure that those resources are available here in the state of Rhode Island for our business community.
Fantastic. That sounds really encouraging. I know, like you mentioned, I know a lot, and in my industry, a lot of restaurants that don't find buyers, and they need to find their way out, and it has proven successful. Like you mentioned, Newport Restaurant Group, but there's the coffee shop on Westminster there. I'm blanking on the name of it now. White Electric Coffee. It's proven to work for these small businesses at all different sizes. So that's great that you've got resources available.
Yeah. In one of the things that excite me the most about this, I have spoken to individuals that have worked for companies that were employee owned or that had that profit sharing.
Mhm.
And after the company closed, I was talking to a friend of mine who told me that recently she just got $300,000 as
Wow.
part because she worked for that company, right? This is money that could go into someone's retirement, or could be money that can be left for their families. So it's helping individuals to increase their income because employee owned makes on average 33% more than just being the employee. But the most exciting part for me is just helping individuals to build wealth.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm so excited. I look at this as like making capitalism work for more people.
Yeah, right. That's a very good point. So thank you for that. Um, we've had a great conversation. I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Well, I just want to tell everyone to reach out to my office if you want to be part of these conversations and help us on make this possible. We have a task force for the employee ownership. It's called the BEST team. So they meet regularly. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your feedback. We have put out actually a survey and 60 businesses reply and let us know how they felt. About 40% would like to learn more about employee ownership. So we want to make sure that you're part of the conversation. Also, I have to look at this link because we have two surveys going on right now that I want your help with. So for the SNAP retailers, we have a link at the office. If you go to the website, Lieutenant Governor, so is ltgov.ri.gov/SNAP retailer survey. So we want to hear your feedback about how this is affecting you.
Okay.
And we're going to make sure that we post this link also so you can just click on it. And then also we're going to have a town hall conversation, and we want to have any retailer that is dealing with the SNAP benefits. We want to hear from you. So we're going to have this town hall coming up, and we're going to post also the link so you can join us for this conversation.
Excellent. Well, like I said, I'll put all those links down below. Please make sure you click on them. I'll link to the Lieutenant Governor's Facebook and things of that nature, because that's where I know I've seen the posts for the town halls and things of that. So make sure you check all the links down below. Thank you very much for your time today. This has been a really great conversation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David. I'm so glad that we have this opportunity to connect and tell you everything that we're doing and the plans for the next year.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. So that is Rhode Island's Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos. Thank you very much to her for her time today and for all her work, especially, I didn't mean it this way, but it turned into a bit of a food sector conversation there for a while. But it's such an important part of what we do. And it's a lot of small businesses are food and drink adjacent, or part of that. Obviously, the restaurants and bars are. But there's a lot more things that are adjacent to food and drink that get affected by some of these things. As always, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time on the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition's forum. Take care.